Good to have you here. Now, you are here for a very, very, very amazing reason. You have been, you went from Backstreet Boy to Broadway, and it's been a few years now. You started in, what, 2002?
I made my debut in Chicago, yes, in 2002.
Okay, so why the move from the huge pop culture phenomenon of a boy band to Broadway? Was it something you always wanted to do?
I grew up doing theater at a young age, and it's just an opportunity. In 2002, after our Black and Blue tour, we had a hiatus. Everybody was doing their own thing. Brian was having a child with his wife, and AJ was in rehab, and Nick was doing a solo thing, and I was home for Thanksgiving. My agent called and said, Chicago just called and wanted to know if you'd be interested in the role of Billy Flynn on Broadway. And I said, absolutely. I went to New York, auditioned for the director, Walter Bobby, and got the role, and that was 4 years ago now.
So how has this, in terms of fulfilling for you, was it a challenge? Was it scary for you? Because before you had the protection of, sharing the spotlight, if you will, and all of a sudden there you are shining on the stage doing something completely new, or at least what people weren't used to seeing you doing. Was it really scary for you, or did you welcome it? Or?
Absolutely. There were days in rehearsal where I was like, may have stepped in over my head, and then there were days where I was like, I got this.
Really?
So it was just kind of balancing that. But the opportunity came, and it's quite a jump from the last acting gig I had before I was in the Backstreet Boys. It was in 1993. I was doing dinner theater role.
Really?
So that's quite a jump from there to Broadway.
I'll say. So what's the response been like? First of all, New York City celebrated 10 years of Chicago. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was glad to be involved in that. Some of the original cast members, Joel Grey, Anne Rankin, B.B. Newhorth, James Naughton, Tony Award winners that originated the roles on Broadway. Got to participate in that last week.
Wow.
And it was a historical event. And at curtain call, I was just like looking around me going, how did I get here?
No, hard work, that's how. Apparently, you have to be, as it true, in the best shape of your life to be able to put on that show. Like, what's the training like?
Well, it's not as physically demanding as some of the aerobic routines that I've done on tour with the guys.
Sure.
But it's mentally you have to be sharp because, again, you have to remember dialogue, blocking. You have to remain in character. You have to, my biggest fear was dropping a line on stage, just going totally blank.
Have you ever?
Oh, yeah.
And?
It was, it happened like 4 weeks into
Lucas is saying goodbye to you.
Oh,
Lucas
thanks,
Rossi's
brother.
saying goodbye.
It happened 4 weeks into my run on Broadway, but luckily your castmates bail you out.
Really? So it hasn't happened since. That's good.
Oh, it happened last night as well.
In Toronto?
Oh, yeah. And Bianca thankfully bailed me out.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just like...
Oh, for sure. You're only human, right? And some days you're putting on 2 performances a day. That's got to be grueling.
Yes.
So tell me what the audience is different. Like, I imagine in New York City, the reception, or is it different than a Toronto audience? Can you gauge yet? Or?
They seem to be pretty similar. Some days, depends on the day of the week, the attitude of the week of the crowd that comes in. If it's a weekend show, they're happier. They don't have to go to work tomorrow. They're maybe partying a little bit and having a good time. And during the week, I think they tend to be a little more reserved.
What do you love most about Broadway versus being on the big sound stage, concert stage with a boy band?
Well, I think, at least for me, my only experience so far on Broadway has been Chicago. But playing a character, getting in someone else's skin, getting to pretend to be someone else is a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and I want to do more of it. And I'm so thankful that I got the opportunity to do the role of Billy Flynn in such a classic piece like Chicago, because it's a true classic.
So tell me, Kevin, is this it for you now? Will you ever go back? I know I was talking to Brian, your cousin from Backstreet Boys, a couple months ago, and he said he's still heartbroken that, you decided to leave clearly because it's not the same without you. Would you ever consider going back?
I wouldn't say never, I never say never, but I know that I've made the right decision, and I know that I'm on the right path. So I can never say never, but I know I'm on the right path.
We may have a scoop here. So you may be going back. I'm going to twist it now and spin it. It's going to be on Star Daily, the other entertainment show tonight. Thank you so much. It's so good to meet you, Kevin. It's a pleasure. I know. Is your wife in town right now too?
Not yet. She's planning on coming in probably next week.
Yeah, because you definitely you need that time, right, to
Absolutely,
be able to.
Especially since we're working on a baby. Right
Are
now,
you?
so, yeah.
Another scoop from Kevin Richardson. He may go back to BSB, and he may be having a little
That's my
baby.
next role.
That's your next role, fatherhood. I'm sure you'll be a great one too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From one Kevin to another, or no, we're breaking to our other Kevin later. We'll be back with more BT right after this.